What's up, nerd fam? Let's get directly into this. We know what's happening right now with Black Panther in the comics, specifically his son, and a couple of things that I want to say. One, you should not be surprised. Two, why are you mad about it? This has already happened, but just in a different order. So if we're being logically consistent, why are we upset about it? So let's get into how we even got to this place with Katima, right? The son of T'Challa, who is most likely going to be Black Panther. And the reason why everyone's up in arms is because he's white, right? But let's just go into how we got here. So, what are the things that people normally say? Mantle, 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 right? That is the thing that makes this cool. We look at Miles Morales. We know Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for literally over 40 years, right? So when people called him the Black Spider-Man, people went, oh no, he's not really the Black Spider-Man, he's his own character. He's not a race swap version of Peter Parker. Let's go with that. Then we have Sam Wilson, who is actually a dope character, especially when he's Falcon. In the comics, they do him a lot of justice, but in the MCU, they definitely whittle him down to a sidekick, and they really only give him any kind of attention now that he is wearing the Stars and Stripes. And when he was wearing the Stars and Stripes as well in the comics, it was stupid. And a lot of people, what do they call him? The Black Captain America. Oh, he's not. He's just Captain America. He's not like a Black Steve Rogers. He's his own. Okay, that's twice that you've said that. It's a mantle. And as long as it's not a black version of the original character, meaning the person under the mask, everything should be okay, right? Enter in T'Challa's son. He's not a black version of T'Challa, and he's wearing the mantle, and apparently, because he has some of T'Challa's blood, he can have that herb. So he actually fits the same logistics and criteria that you gave the other characters. Why is it a problem now? Oh, because it's going in the wrong order. He's the wrong skin. But how else did we get here? To be honest, it's because when it came to original characters that were black, you didn't give a shit. You only cared about characters that were really, really important and mainstream to everyone else. You didn't care about all the other black characters, and you didn't prop them up. You weren't writing people on Twitter about it. You didn't read the comics when they came out. You didn't buy them. You weren't doing any of that stuff, right? So Marvel said, well, those characters that we wrote a couple of pages of, a couple of issues, y'all don't like that. But you know what y'all seem to like? You seem to love it when we make a different person and quite literally make them a certain race on purpose. Like Miles Morales, the person who made Miles Morales literally made him black for a reason. His race was a key component to what was going on here. You can't avoid that. It is what it is. But I'm not gonna stick on Miles Morales. It's just about this whole thing of everyone being surprised about this and up in arms and straight up hypocritical about what's happening here. How many original black characters across all comic book companies? Go to DC. Oh, look, we need a black Superman. Calvin Ellis. Val Zod. Calvin Ellis is literally Kal-El. Oh, he's not a black Superman. He's a different character. What about Icon? Why didn't you like him? Oh, because he's kind of conservative. You see? You have all these cool characters from the Milestone universe, even within just DC itself, and even within the imprint of Wildstorm that DC owns. There's a ton of black characters. Nobody is going on Wikipedia, and I'm saying that because most of you don't read the comics. You go on Wikipedia, find out the information. You're not there on X or whatever, going to these creators talking about, hey, how come you don't bring this one? Instead, you make these big threads about what kind of characters should be turned black that are white. You do weird stuff like that, and then you wonder why this stuff happens. You thought that it was only gonna work one way. It never only works one way. As a matter of fact, this isn't even the first time. There have been blatant race swaps. For example, Fox from Wanted, they had Angelina Jolie. She's clearly not white in the comics, or Cecilia Reyes. But you know why you didn't care? Because Cecilia Reyes isn't Storm. And you were like, well, if they touch Storm, I'm gonna have a problem. Because, you know, that's like the ideal version. That's always this weird thing. There's certain characters that get revered and all the other ones get shoved aside just because A, maybe they're not all powerful, or they don't represent something weird and greater to you, like you, something that you aspire to be. But the aforementioned Cecilia Reyes, she's a doctor. Why isn't she as important? Why did they have Alice Braga playing her? Why weren't there enough people talking about that? And it just went away. Nobody cared. But here's what's happening. T'Challa's not even being race swapped. It's his son taking the mantle. You know, you love mantles, but now that it's going the other way, now you're upset. You have to lay in the bed that you made. And that was, you didn't appreciate all these original characters that were out there in these books. You didn't do that. Tons of them. Night Thrasher, Rage. Even before Luke Cage was in the shows, only people who read comics were really appreciating him. A lot of people just didn't. Oh, that's just a street guy in a yellow shirt. What's that? People really didn't care about that, right? Which was very interesting. Even in DC, Bloodwind, Vixen, going to like Image and Valiant Comics, you know, like Livewire and Divinity. All these like really cool characters that are out there, nobody cares. They could do their little internet research and talk about it, but no. How do we make Professor Xavier, Magneto, black? All this time spent on how to change characters. What's character? It makes more sense for this character to be black because of it makes this, instead of, well, how come all these literally over 100 characters that are black aren't seeing the light of day? How come? How come this is not happening? Oh, I found this one. Oh, I bought this big book of characters and I found at least 30 or 40 characters between the letters A and H that are really cool, but I've never seen them in a movie, show, or a video game. What's that about? Because the reason why I mention those is because that's normally where people who don't read comics, that is normally where they get a chance to get acquainted with the comic book characters and properties, i.e. Guardians of the Galaxy. Listen, I love cosmic comic book stuff, but that's very obscure, and look what they turn that into. Are you saying all these other characters that are just waiting in the wings to be exposed, that couldn't happen to? Of course it could. But one, they're too lazy at these comic book companies or Disney, whatever, Warner Brothers, and you don't care because you don't ask, because obviously they want to make money and they know that you will cheer on a black Batman before an original character. And even when it comes to the original indie stuff like Philadelphia and stuff like that, like really cool stuff that's out there, you barely go do that because you don't really care. You just want what's recognizable. And that's it. Why are you surprised at this? Why are you so angry at this when you weren't angry at it before? Oh, I get it, because T'Challa for some reason was supposed to represent you. I remember on an old video I made, somebody put Black Panther is the ideal, like the idealized version of a black man. What the hell are you talking about? He's the monarch of a sovereign, xenophobic nation that doesn't exist unless a meteorite comes down and you're blessed by a panther god. Are you kidding me? Like, this is not something, you can't strive to be that. What's wrong with people? Then I saw somebody else say, we can't have anything. No, you do have plenty. You just don't appreciate any of what you have. You saw those characters and go, that's not enough, that's not enough, I don't like that. And we're talking about dope characters. Remember how I mentioned Icon before? Icon and Rocket are an awesome team because ideologically, they are not the same, yet their whole partnership is based on the fact that even though they don't agree with a lot of things on a socio-political basis, they still come together to save people and they have to balance each other out. Awesome. Are we going to see it? Who knows? Are we going to get to see it exactly how it was intended by Dwayne McDuffie? Probably not, because people don't want it to be that way. They don't want Icon to see the light of day, especially if he has a conservative mindset, because God forbid there are black characters that don't think exactly the same. And this is where all of this is. There's going to be more after this. Don't be surprised if Blade have a son and he's got blonde hair and blue eyes too. And that's a Daywalker, a non-melanated Daywalker, a Daywalker that needs suntan lotion. So I guess you don't have all the strengths. Whatever, we get it. You get what I'm trying to say here. It's coming. And as long as you keep cheering this stuff on, It's gonna keep coming. Don't be a hypocrite. Support all of the characters, obscure or not. Learn about it. You don't even have to pick up a book. You can download the apps. Find these characters. Put it up there on X, Facebook, social media. Talk about these characters. Get them made. Stop just cheering on literally black versions of characters. And we're not just talking about race swaps. We know what we're talking about. We know that there are characters like Batman that we've known have been Bruce Wayne for almost 100 years, and then all of a sudden it's this dude's son. I forgot. They had that like little one-off when he had like almost like a full face covering. That, and we know what they were trying to do there. It is what it is. Let me know what you think. Do you understand why something like this happens? How often do you champion black original characters? And if you do, which ones do you like? Or do you think that it can only work one way and not the other? As a matter of fact, Kevin Grevue, I said Greville last time. Apparently I was wrong, so I'm going to say the right way. Kevin Grevue, the guy that made Blue Marvel and wrote Underworld, also put a post about this, talking about how you cheer all this stuff on, but you don't support anything else. This is why you get it. This is it. Let's talk in the comments. Enter the nerd.